Hi all, good morning and welcome to today's class. As last time we were going through the current affairs, I hope you have liked the class and I'm glad to see a lot of suggestions and a lot of queries on that. I've been getting questions like to share some other credentials as well, so definitely we'll be doing that time to time, so you don't have to worry on that. Slowly we'll be carrying the thing, so it should not be too much burden to you, and in the same time it should not be so much that remembering things will be tough, because my agenda is quite clear. As I told in the previous class that when it comes to current affairs, there is no stoppage. We have to keep on learning things, we have to keep on linking things, so that the more and more we link things, the more and more things will be there in the mind, and definitely that is how we actually learn any current affairs or general knowledge, and that is how we prepare for any competitive exams, right? So today again we'll be going through those particular topics which are important as of now. So today what we'll be doing is definitely as how we go is the four ways, like national, international, economic affairs. In economic, we will be basically covering the basically business, banking, and other economic details as well. And the last but not the least, sports and further miscellaneous, right? So in national, today what we are going to do is, and how we are going to interlink things is, the topics which I have taken is LGBT issue. This is basically those are basically the topics, okay, in newspapers. So I have just took those parts. Under this we'll be studying. So first one is the LGBT issue, a fight for identity, net neutrality issue, RTI bill to be tabled in monsoon session, Brahmos tested in extreme weather, counter drone strategy, faster visas for minorities, farmers unhappy with MSPs, Supreme Court to Parliament, which have told make lynching a separate offense, right? Those are the few topics under which we'll be learning further. Now, let us come to the point. LGBTQ, what is this? The first L starts for lesbian, G for gay, B for bisexual, T for transgender, and Q for queer, right? L for lesbian, G for gay, B for bisexual, T for transgender, and Q for queer. Now, why this is important over the time is basically this particular, out of this particular gender have always fought with the society. They have never got an identity. They formally have never been getting proper opportunities, though recently the society have been little progress over this, but actually what they deserve, they have never got this. So basically this is a fight against the morality or socio-culture, where this particular person who are biologically born wanted justice like the other human beings who are there in society. So the topic is on LGBTQ. Now, what things we have to keep in mind, keeping competitive exams in mind, or keeping important things in mind? The important points over here is obviously 2014, 377 NAS Foundation, and 5 Judge Bench. I will elaborate this. Basically, the first time that LGBTQ was introduced was in 1860 by Lord Macaulay. It was first time introduced in 1860, and since then, that is around 1861, from 1861, this particular act is there in society and is considered as a criminal offense. Basically out of this, the main thing which comes out is the homosexuality, like the homosexual have no right to be in the society, and it is basically a criminal offense for such sexual activities, basically, right? So basically what happened is SC have told that why have put this 2017, because this was the first time when the Supreme Court have realized that some changes need to be made on the decision or on the criminalization of this LGBTQ. So it was in 2014 when Supreme Court have tore its own judgment, where the Supreme Court felt that it is quite too hard to criminalize such people, right? Because why? Because this offense basically deprives few fundamental rights. To understand this, what is this? This is basically, this LGBTQ comes under section 377. Section 377 is basically, it is, as I told, it dates back to 1861, which criminalize the sexual offenses and same-sex marriage in homosexual. Basically, culture, society happen with heterosexuals, so homosexuals are deprived to be accepted in public. So this is one point. Now coming to the next important point is NAS Foundation. What is NAS Foundation? NAS Foundation is one of the foundation who have been constantly important organization in fighting for this LGBTQ community. Okay, this NAS Foundation is basically a Delhi-based NGO which challenges the violation. NAS Foundation says that few fundamental things have been biased by the Supreme Court, that is Article 21, Article 19, Article 15, Article 14. This criminalization of LGBTQ actually somewhere compromises these fundamental rights. And as per our constitution, which compromises on fundamental rights, cannot be a proper decision and cannot be a foolproof decision, right? So why this is hampering? Because Article 21 says it is right to life. It talks about right to life, means a person have a right to live his or her life in a dignified manner. Similarly, Article 19, it talks about right of expression. Similarly, Article 15 talks about right of expression, means right of expression of speech. Similarly, Article 14, it talks about right to equality. Whereas Article 14 talks about equality. Article 15 talks about equality of religion. This is equality of gender, basically, or no description. So this is religion, gender, caste, and so on. So these are what? Those are the fundamental rights that every human being in a country, basically if it is India, is bound to get this, right? So this criminalization of LGBTQ under 377 actually violates this fundamental rights. So NAS Foundation have picked up and have gone against the government of India and have filed petitions for the same. So that is the only reason in 2014 SC finally upholded its own decision, and again now after a file have been petition have been applied, a 5-judge bench have been formed under the guidance of Chief Justice Deepak Mishra. Okay, a 5-judge bench have been formed and they are hearing this play to strike down basically section 377, which criminalizes gay sex, even if it is between two consenting adults. Basically what happened, in section 377, the court is unable to decide on consenting and non-consenting. So obviously for that reason they have never cleared the section 377, and still this lies as a criminal offense. But as per the human view, as per the morality, definitely they should get the right, because our constitution gives fundamental right. There are some fundamental rights and fundamental duties being a part of the nation. So obviously this section 377, which criminalization, should be left out, right? So this was all about this LGBTQ. So this was the first topic for today. Similarly, we'll go to the next topic. Our next topic is net neutrality. What is this net neutrality? Basically, net neutrality is our digital assets, which should be counted as a fundamental need or a fundamental right, right? Like what was the analogy on earlier days? Earlier days, the analogy used to be like, for a living, one need food, clothes, and shelter. But today, the need have increased further. Apart from this, we also need internet. Why? Because there are a lot of things which are involved around this. There are businesses which are popping out. There are organizations which need to be updated and have to be passed thoroughly from people to people. Mouth to mouth is quite impossible. So what we do is we come across the help of this internet facility. Now, what happened with our country is, generally in the Western countries, the internet have moved with phase by phase. But our country have seen a drastic leapfrog or drastic change from one position to other, where the country was lagging far more lagging in the internet. Today, internet is almost available with more than 75 to more than 85% of area covering, right? More than 85% we can say today it is covering the internet. Internet coverage is covering. That's a different thing. It may be 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G, whatever it is. But the basic point which I want to bring is, today the scenario have changed. We have entirely jumped from no internet zone to multiple internet zone. When I'm talking about multiple internet zone, basically I'm talking about the ISPs, that is internet service providers. It can be Reliance Jio, it can be local, it can be BSNL, or whatever it is, right? Now, what is the topic then? What is net neutrality? Basically what happened is, the ISP, basically the principle of this net neutrality is, first let me talk about first principle. So the reason of putting out point by point is to make you understand over this. So the principle, what is the principle of this is, basically ISP and government, they should treat all data on the internet the same, without discriminating or charging differentially by user, content, site, even on platform or application, or type of attached equipment, or mode of any communication, right? So the point of this net neutrality is to keep all in one loop, one charge. We should not discriminate one service to other service, a different rate, a different money. So this is the basic reason of net neutrality, and this is the basic principle of net neutrality. So the reason and the purpose is to neutralize the internet usage. And this, two points are quite important. One is OTT and one is ZRS, or it is also called as ZRP. OTT stands for over the top. It stands for over the top. Whereas ZRS goes for zero rated, S for service, and P for platform. What are this? What happen is, say this is you You are there, this is your home, okay, and say this is tower, mobile phone tower. So what happened? You have a phone. So what happened? Your phone is connected with this tower, right? How this tower give connection to your phone? This tower, which are regulated by the telecom department. Further, this telecom department are regulated by TRAI. TRAI means Tele Regulatory Authority of India, right? Now here, who is the chairman? Who is the chairman? Question may come. See here, two questions are important. Who is the chairperson? And where is the headquarter? Headquarter is in New Delhi. And the chairperson of this is Sunil Kumar Gupta. Sunil Kumar Gupta. Anyway, coming back. So what TRAI do is TRAI regulate telecom, and this telecom operators further regulate their tower and usage. So what this tower is doing, this tower is connecting your phone. But to get this connection, this telecom department have to pay some money, right? They have to pay TRAI for buying spectrums, because that spectrum is important. Without that spectrum, the telecom department cannot give bandwidth, they cannot give the data, right? So they buy, this telecom department, they buy bandwidth, they buy the spectrums. From whom? From TRAI. Now the argument over here is, this particularly this tower, this telecom are buying from TRAI, but OTT, that is over the top apps like Skype, like WhatsApp, what they are over the top. They are one app which are over the internet, and they provide free voice over internet protocol, right? This telecom department, basically the point is they are telling that we fight for getting this spectrum. But what this apps do is they provide customer 1 to customer 2, they connect them both over voice of internet protocol, which is hampering their voice service as well as SMS service, and because of which what happened, they are unable to generate money, and hence they go in loss. That is one argument given by Skype, WhatsApp and voice of internet protocol. Similarly, what is zero rated service or zero rated platform? Zero rated platform is when a telecom provider provide a service at zero price, that is you get a free data, right? So that is ZRS and ZRP. So that is one argument. But the second argument, the counter argument of this is that when these are paying this telecom regulatories, so they have the right that data should not be used discriminately. Data should be same for all. So what telecom department again here claiming is that for we have to pay a lot of money for buying high band spectrum, because now users are looking more into watching YouTube. So when a customer is looking to use more YouTube, so obviously to use more on YouTube, one need high data. So when we provide high data, by default what happens, this is Skype, WhatsApp and other apps get an advantage to give more clarity and to perform better than others. So those are the few things. So what the nation is fighting, what the citizens of the nation are fighting for, a neutralizing of internet, that is to make one data for all rather than for different datas. So obviously it requires a higher investment from telecom side, as well as the step have to be taken by TRAI. Moreover, TRAI have taken a step where it have recommended for a net neutrality, but it is up to the, now it is in the telecom department court that what decision have to come. So soon we are going to come across with a decision that whether we are going to get net neutrality or not. Definitely there are a few things where we cannot expect, like a few maybe in medical grounds or medical ground internet services or any government related things. Otherwise internet is expected to remain discrimination free, right? I hope this is clear to all. Now, the next topic for the national is RTI bill to be tabled in monsoon season. Now, here I find two things. One is obviously RTI, so I have underlined, and the one is monsoon session, right? Here, let us first discuss on RTI. The full form of RTI is a right to information. Okay, so this RTI actually empowers every citizen to seek information or ask a question to government. Say for example, nearby your home one bridge is getting constructed, and say that construction is done by the government. You want to know how much money government is spending, how much manpower government is spending, what time limit that government has kept. So what you can do is, you can go to that particular site of the company, or you can go physically to that company and apply for a RTI. So you will get, that's why you can seek information or ask a question to the government on any of the things except few secret diplomacies. You can request for copies of government documents, inspect government documents and work, and request for samples of materials of any government work. And basically the reason of this, the objective of bringing this RTI was to empower the citizen by giving this much power, right? Like they can go and ask any information to whatever government agencies if they want some information. So basically the objective was to empower them, to bring transparency, then to eliminate corruption, and obviously which will build and which will go for a long time democrat, right? So this was the main objective. Here we have to keep two things in mind. Two things comes in this topic which should be worth to understand and should be worth to link is Article 19(1) and RTI Act 2005. So basically Article 19(1), this is specifies right to information is a part of fundamental right. So 19 talks about this right to information is a fundamental right of a citizen, because being a taxpayer, it is a right of a citizen to know where his taxes are invested by the government, right? Similarly, the next is RTI Act 2005. RTI Act 2005, here basically it gives every citizen a right to receive a timely response. Basically RTI Act 2005, under RTI, this is the main focal point. Article 19, as I told, this is the right to equality, whereas Right Act 2005 gives every citizen the right to receive a timely response from the government for any information that is sought by them with respect to the functioning of government. Basically the RTI Act 2000 enables a government for a timely response for any of these queries if one have asked, right? Apart from this, the important thing over here is what? On the right side, it is monsoon session, right? So in this monsoon session means the session run by the parliament. Now here you can see how many types of sessions are there. There are 3 sessions. One is budget session, which runs from February to May, where budget is presented. Earlier railway budget and civil budget was different, but now both of the budget have been merged and both are presented together. First is obviously budget session. The second one is monsoon session. Monsoon session is post monsoon or in monsoon actually, that is July to September. And the last is winter session. So this session are carried out where? In the parliament. Right? When it comes to parliament, again it comes to constitution. So let us revise few things back. In constitution, how many articles were there initially? Initially there were 395 articles. How many parts were there? 22 parts and 8 schedule. As of now, the article have increased to 448. Today, how many articles stands? 448 articles, 25 parts and 12 schedule. Apart from this, 101 amendments have been made till date. The only reason, so you can see here when we go through the topic and we start linking, so we keep on revising these things. So again, you don't have to remember on, especially on parliament, but this is how we have linked it, right? So when we start linking, by default we start keeping things remembering. So when again and again you wherever the parliament comes, you take your mind to constitution, so a few things you keep remembering like this, right? So this is how we have to link the topics with each other, right? Now we'll go to the next topic. Next topic is Brahmos tested in extreme weather. This is one of the topic. Where Brahmos are tested? Basically these are tested at integrated site in Chandipur in Balasore district of Odisha. Okay, basically in the Bay of Bengal. So like this is India. So this is Odisha. So this is Bay of Bengal. So at this place, which is in the near to sea. So in Chandipur, Brahmos are tested. Basically all missiles are tested over there. So here we'll be learning 3 important things, that is joint venture, commission and stage. But before that, we need to understand this. When I'm talking about JV, this Brahmos is basically a joint venture. This missile is not indigenously developed by India itself, but it was basically a development of India plus Russia, right? It is basically developed by 2 organizations, by 2 parties, that is India and Russia, and together they have named is Brahmos. BRAH have been taken from India, whereas MOS have been taken from Russia. So the first part is from India and the next part is from Russia. What is BRAH? BRAH stands for, have taken from Brahmaputra river, whereas MOS have been taken from Moskva river. Brahmaputra river is one of an important river of India. Similarly, Moskva river is one of an important river of Russia, which flows through where? Which flows through Moscow. Now, when it comes to Brahmaputra, right? See, we were in Brahmaputra, Brahmos. Definitely, we'll be understanding more on Brahmos. So let us first, since as I have discussed, as I have told that it is basically a joint venture of India and Russia, and the name have been taken from Brahmaputra and Moskva. So we can discuss a bit in this as well. Brahmaputra, right? So how Brahmaputra, where Brahmaputra starts? Brahmaputra starts somewhere from here, right? This is called as Angsi Glacier, which is near to Mansarovar Lake. So from here the river starts, it goes through the Tibet, suddenly it disappears somewhere, and again start from Arunachal Pradesh. This is Arunachal Pradesh. You can see here, this is Arunachal Pradesh. So you can see here it is entering from Arunachal Pradesh. It enters to Arunachal Pradesh, passes through Assam, touches the borders of Ceylon, finally to Bangladesh, and then divided into two before falling into Bay of Bengal. So what is important things in Bangladesh, in Brahmaputra to remember is Brahmaputra is basically a river which origins in Tibet. Okay, and the name of Brahmaputra over there is called as Sangpo, Yarlung Sangpo. Here, the Brahmaputra over here is known as Yarlung Sangpo. Okay, this is the Tibetan language for Brahmaputra, which runs nearly 1100 kilometers. It obviously starts from Tibet, as I told, goes to Arunachal Pradesh, enters to Arunachal Pradesh, but before entering Arunachal Pradesh, it disappears. I mean, we cannot see, it comes from inside somewhere, and then suddenly appears in Arunachal Pradesh, then passes, you can see here Arunachal Pradesh, passes through Assam. See, this is Assam, Guwahati, Dhabri, part of obviously Meghalaya, Shillong, and then to Bangladesh, and finally falls into Bay of Bengal. But before falling into Bay of Bengal, it is divided into two parts in the eastern and western part before falling into Bay of Bengal. So here question may be asked that what is the origin of Brahmaputra, right? It was on Brahmos, but questions can come from there as well because there is a linkage. So what is the origin of Brahmaputra? What is the sequence of the places it passes? The options may be like Tibet, Arunachal Pradesh, or it may go other way, Arunachal Pradesh, Tibet, and so on. So you take the right decision on this, right? So apart from this Brahmaputra over here in Arunachal Pradesh, basically in this place, is called as Dihang. Brahmaputra is called as Dihang in over Arunachal Pradesh, right? So this is the important things in terms of the name Brahmaputra and Mosvak. Mosvak is, as I told, is a very important river of Russia which flows through Moscow and is one of a important source of drinking water for the whole city of Moscow and adjoining cities. Okay. Then coming to commission, this basically Brahmos has been commissioned as of now in Navy. It is basically, this Brahmos is a supersonic missile which has been now formally commissioned in Navy and Army, and shortly it will be commissioned in Air Force because the trial with Sukhoi 30 MKI, the fighter jet, air to air, have been successfully tried, and henceforth we can conclude that soon the commission in Air Force will also take place. It is basically a two-stage missile. One stage is basically solid and the other is not solid, of course, and the kilometer this Brahmos can go is nearly 242 to nearly 240 to 290 kilometers, and further India can increase to 450 kilometers, because now India is a member of MTCR, right? Missile Technology Comprehensive Review. So obviously under this regime, India can also sell missiles and can upgrade missiles. And further, the future plan is even to reach 600 kilometers, right? This is a cut of newspaper which I have taken. You can see here the technical specification. It is maximum range is 400 plus kilometer under MTCR, earlier which was 240 to 90 kilometers. Velocity is Mach 2.8, near to Mach 3. Weight is 2.5 tons. Warhead mass, the warhead mass, this part can carry 200 to 300 kgs. Cruise is 15 kilometers and terminal is 10 to 15 meter. The special features are already are there. Obviously, you can go through like universal for multiple platforms like Navy, Air Force, and Army. It means land, air, and water. So the multiple platform means the same. It means land, air, and sea. Fire and forget principle. This is here, fire and forget principle. Then high supersonic speed, all the flight, long flight range with varieties of flight trajectories, low radar signatures. It is quite tough for an enemy to detect because the radar signature or the radar information is weak. So by the time the enemy gets, this Brahmos get hit, that hits the objective. It has shorter flight times, leading to lower target dispersion and as well as pinpoint accuracy, right? So those are the few things one have to keep in mind while going through that, right? I hope this is clear to all. Now the next important topic in national is counter drone strategy. Over this 4 points are important because this is what happened now. There are multiple commercialization. The commercialization have rise so far that there are many organizations, there are many individuals who keep trial with the drones for capturing images or making videos. So what happened, this somewhere violates the rule. Say for example, there's a drone which is flying above your home. Now you may be doing something in the terrace of your home. You do not want that someone should capture your personal images, someone should make video of you, right? So that can be done by drone which are flying above. So it is understood by the government that basic law have to be brought in pursuit of this. So basically that is what government have initially proposed, these 3 laws as of now based on security, and slowly government is looking into effect that how we can ensure the personal living beings, because Article 21, which gives right to life and right to live with dignity, should not be breached. So as of now, under security concern, government have gone through these 3 lines: 5 kilometer, 50 kilometer, and again 5 kilometer in Delhi. So the first 5 kilometer talks about this first 5 kilometer talks about the airport radius. So the radius, if this is the airport, say this is the airport, so the radius, either you go by this or this or this, within 5 kilometer no drone should fly. Similarly, if it is an international border, then the distance should be minimum 50 kilometers, whereas 5 kilometer is also decided for Chowk, Delhi, Vijay Chowk, Delhi. In case if drones are found, then government can initiate soft skill, means government can kill those drones and can capture those drones, right? Because they violate the Indian airspace. So this is one important topic of national. Now we'll move to the next important. Next important news in the newspaper was in recent, faster visas for minorities. What is this minority? When I'm talking about minority, I'm talking in terms of international. Basically, the minorities are from the countries, basically Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan. Minorities, which minorities we are talking about? Basically, we are talking about minorities of these 3 basic countries. Okay, so here 3 basic countries means what is this? Basically, India have come up with Citizen Amendment Bill 2015, and counter to this, there are violations. There have been protests in Assam in the name of Assam Accord 1985. What is this? Basically, this 2015, that Citizenship Amendment Bill 2015 says that the minorities from these particular countries, that is Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Afghanistan, who are the minorities? Basically, the Hindus, Jains, Sikhs, Parsis, Christians, and Buddhists, basically except Muslims, or except Muslims, all others are termed as minorities. So they should get long-term visas. So this citizenship amendment bill justifies that they should be getting long-term visas as well as they should get citizenship in country. Now, because of this, there is a resistance in Assam. Why in Assam, not in any other places in India? Because what happened is, in Assam, the people feel that Assam Accord 1985, Assam Accord 1985 actually empowers the state for their culture. And they believe their culture is deprived, their culture is in threat because there are a lot of Bangladeshi Hindus who are there in Assam. If they get settled, probably the citizens of Assam need to lose their paternal places. They will be losing the lands because some of the lands will be granted to them by the government. So this fears the regular persons of Assam, and that is why they are protesting in the name of Assam Accord 1985, which gives basically empowers the state based on culture. So Citizenship Amendment Bill 2015 is what? A bill which has been bought to give a citizenship right to these minorities of these three countries. I repeat, what are the minorities? The minorities are Hindus, Jains, Sikhs, Parsis, Christians, and obviously Buddhists. Okay, so even in parliament there was a protest because non-Muslims Muslims were not included. So the government have declared that, have told that already these three countries are Muslim dominated places, so there is no threat to people from following Muslim as a religion, but other religions are in threat and they are actually depleting in these three countries. So keeping that in mind and keeping humanity as well as being a nation with Vedas, the country have taken the decision to come up with Citizenship Amendment Bill 2015. Okay, so there is a Assam violation which I have already told, and apart from this, the main important thing which have been bought, the point is here security clearance of 21 days. Say for example, any of these minorities have come to India and they want citizenship and they have applied for LTV, that is long-term visas. So that have been brought down to 21 days. Earlier it was 45 days, now it is 21 days. And say within this 21 days, if they don't get the visas, they are not given the visas, and by default after 21 days they will get the visas automatically. So this is an important step the government have taken, keeping minorities into point. So because of this, there were not only protests inside the parliament by the opposition, but there were also protests in the Assam because the Assamese feel that a lot of Bangladeshis are there who are settled in Assam will deprive them from their land. And Assam have been very vocal on this issue of not allowing this National Citizenship Amendment Bill 2015 as well as Nation Citizenship Registry. So those are the things which is happening in Assam, and that is all about the links we can bring in from this particular topic of the newspaper, right? So after this, let us go to the next topic for the day. The next topic is of national is farmers unhappy with MSPs. So here the important word is MSP. Okay, MSP stand for what? Minimum selling price. MSP is a breakthrough. Why? Because government have declared that the minimum selling price of any kharif crop will be increased to 50% from the production cost. Though it is not being clear that what should be the cost, production cost, things are working out, but the farmers are still unhappy because a concrete and final result have been not taken. I mean, they are not getting the price till now. They haven't received that price because there are farmers from sugarcane areas, sugarcane farmers. They are sugarcane farmers who have an area of nearly, the government have an area of nearly 25,000 crores, which have to be paid to the farmers. So they are still not happy on that ground. So but apart, having said this, MSP is an important thing to understand because this is a breakthrough. This MSP is a breakthrough, which was basically first time pitched in 1966-67 under the wake of Green Revolution, where MS Swaminathan have come with a point that farmers should be getting a nominal price. They should not be getting a low grade price. Say for example, a farmer, if we have invested growing tomatoes, 100 kg of tomatoes, if the farmer have invested 100 rupees, so at no circumstances that farmer should be getting less than 100 rupees. So the government have come with a proposal that farmer should be getting with 100 rupees plus 50% minimum profit on that. Means the farmer at minimum should get 150 rupees, right? So basically what happened is here, this have been divided into two. This MSP as of now is announced by the government of India for 25 crops. As of now, this MSP have been declared for 25 crops currently at the beginning of each session. That is Rabi and Kharif. So we have two again, Rabi and Kharif. So I'll discuss this again. What is Rabi and Kharif? Basically, this Rabi and Kharif crops are divided based on season. First, let me come with Kharif. Kharif is basically the grains or the crops which are sowed, which starts on the onset of monsoon and are harvested when the rainy season is over. This is when Kharif crops are the crops basically which are sowed or started before the rainy season and are finished after rainy season, right? Whereas Rabi crops are basically the crops which are started once the monsoon ends, once the rainy season is over, and is harvested before the summer. That is why it means what? This Rabi crops needs warm climate, whereas Kharif crop needs what? Warm climate, whereas Kharif crop need wet climate, and wet is only possible when there is rain. So obviously, so before rain this Kharif crop is harvested, and after rain it is plucked out. That is why in Kharif the the crops which are given is paddy, which are given MSPs are as of now paddy, jawar, bajra, maize, ragi, artur, mung, urad, cotton, groundnut, sunflower seed, soybean black, sesame, niger seed. Whereas in Rabi crops, those are wheat, barley, gram, masoor, mustard, safflower, toria, chopra, coconut, jute, and sugarcane. Out of this has been a very important fact because many a time farmers have been suiciding of not getting the minimum selling price, right? So those are the important things. So what are the things we have to do? MSP, that is minimum selling price, which is added advantage for a farmer who should be getting a minimum price of 50% margin above productivity cost. In that we have as of now government have given 25 crops where MSPs will be allowed. Those 25 crops are divided between Rabi and Kharif. What is Kharif? Kharif is a crop which is started before the starting of rainy season and is harvested at the end of rainy season, whereas Rabi is a crop which is harvested after, which is sowed after monsoon, that is after rainy season, and is harvested before summer. So Rabi needs a warm climate, whereas Kharif needs a wet climate. I hope I'm clear to all, right?
further I have put these points as well, so that questions can be anything, right? So that's why I put here. You can see here the meaning of kharif crop. Kharif crops can be described as the crops which are sown with the beginning of rainy season, as I have already told, with the beginning of rainy season. Whereas rabi are what? Rabi are the crops which are sown after the end of the monsoon, obviously after the rainy season. This begins before the rainy season and this after the rainy season, after the monsoon. Major crops already have given in the previous slide. Requirement, it requires what? Kharif crop. It is beginning of the rainy season, so once the rain will start, what will happen? The ground gets wet, right? So it required huge amount of water and hot weather. Whenever it rains, what happens? The humidity increases, so the weather gets hotter. Whereas rabi crop, whereas in rabi crop, it requires warm climate, right, for seed germination and a cold climate to grow. So examples are like wheat, right? Wheat are basically sown in the winter seasons, where if you go to Punjab and Haryana, you can find a huge huge cultivations of wheat. Flowering, it requires shorter day lengths, require longer day lengths. Sowing month, as you know, before the monsoon, after the monsoon, and before this. So basically, this is what? The beginning of monsoon and end of the monsoon. End of the monsoon, beginning of the summer. Yeah. So I hope this is clear to all. This is within rainy days. This is out of rainy days. Clear? So these were the topics for the national affairs which I have picked up for your explanation and interlinking things to make things more clear and more easier for you. I hope you should be understanding by now that what should be the procedure to read and to understand any current affairs, right? So now we'll go to the next section. Our next section is international affairs. When we are talking about international affairs, what we are going to do is we are going to basically discuss national affairs in two interways, that is one to other. We are going to find an interlink between these two nations. So the first topic which I have come across was Trump and Putin met in Helsinki. I'll come back to this, but where is this Helsinki, right? And why they have decided to meet in this place? Trump is what? Trump is the president of US. Trump is basically the president of US, whereas Putin is president of Russia. They both could have met either in US or in Russia, but why they have met in Helsinki? There is nothing hard to think actually. First, let us see where is this Helsinki. Helsinki is nothing but it's the capital of Finland. Okay, you can see here I have given Finland. So it is the capital of Helsinki is the capital of Finland. Finland is bordered with Gulf of Bothnia and Baltic Sea. Question once I remember once question came that what are the neighboring countries of Baltic Sea? So it is Estonia, Finland, Sweden, right? And even question have came that which two countries are the borders to Gulf of Bothnia to left to right? So it is Sweden and Finland, of course. So anyway, coming back, where they have met? They have met in Helsinki. Helsinki is the capital of Finland, which is border to Sweden and Russia. Now thing is why they have met in this place, because Trump was already in Europe for NATO summit and it was nearer from Europe, so that was the only reason they have scheduled Helsinki as a common destination point. Okay, there is nothing more to understand, but one thing we have to understand is the border area, Gulf of Bothnia and Baltic Sea. Okay, because question, though topic is this, question can come that what is the capital of what? Finland, right? As I have already shown here, Finland. Here, basically the point of agenda, these two leaders have basically met, and the heated argument was basically election interference. Time and again, both countries, that is Russia have been alleging this US, and US have been alleging Russia that they both are interfering in elections. To counter that, let me come with few points, discuss few things which I'm aware of. Like US actually intervened, like there are a lot of evidence where US and Russia have intervened. For example, US have intervened in the elections of 45 major countries, that is from 1946 to 2000. US have basically interfered in 45 nations elections, and they have countries are like Albania, Argentina, Bolivia, Japan, Laos, Lebanon, Panama, and so on. So 45 countries are there where US have intervened in the election, in their indigenous elections. It have also found that US have intervened 8 times in Italy's election, 5 times in Japan elections, 4 times in Israel elections, 4 times in Laos, and 4 times in Sri Lanka as well. Now what this means? The reason is quite obvious. When they try to bring their own leader in a particular country, it becomes easier for that country to do diplomacy. So that is the only reason that they try to influence elections of other countries. Like in November 2003, there was a Rose Revolution in Georgia, which was against this, that why they are intervening. There were Orange Revolution in Ukraine. There were a few resolution as I was talking. In November 2003, a revolution was started by Georgia. In Georgia, the name of the revolution was Rose Revolution. Then again in November 2004, a new revolution is started in Ukraine that was called as Orange Revolution. The revolution was basically to tell US that US should not interfere in their local matters and should not influence election and should not overcome people's mandate. And again in 2005, that is again in November 2005, sorry, February, not November, a revolution in Kyrgyzstan started, and the name of that was Tulip Revolution. So by now, there are nearly 117 elections that have been targeted or intervened by US and Russia both. Though they are fighting with each other, alleging each other, that telling that no, in Trump administration, Russia have helped Trump, whereas Trump is telling that no, Russia have been keeping Russia through Kremlin, keep on intervening in others' matters. But in actual, there are nearly 117 elections which have been targets of intervention, out of which 81 elections were done by the US itself. Out of 117 elections interfered, 81 interfered by US itself. Okay, so obviously it is a bad things. The activities, how they intervene, what they do is basically they provide campaign funds to the favored side, whatever they favor. Say for example, in India we have two high power government. One is obviously NDA, the other one is UPA. NDA, which is ruled, the majority is BJP, and UPA, the majority is Congress. Now let us say how US influences is. Let us say US want Rahul Gandhi to be Prime Minister. So what they will do is they will intervene in our country's election, and they will try to provide funds for the favored side. They will even start training local and advanced campaigning. They will provide disinformation on the rival candidates. They will suddenly provide foreign aids in different sources. They will even withdraw a parts of the existing aid from the present government. Say for example, if the present government is given some aid, so what they will do is they will try to stop the aid and they will try to negotiate with the present government. So what happens, this will ultimately bring a bad image to the people of the country. So that is how they interfere and they do favors of their choice. The effects have been quite high, like tensions on H1, like in India, how this intervention have been an important point. Like the reason is like the tensions on H1B visas which are given to Indians, skilled Indians, have been increased to $130,000. It means any company of US if want to hire an Indian, then that company have to pay a minimum salary of $130,000. So it is quite obvious any company will think twice and thrice to invest such a big amount. And this is quite obvious that US does not want Indians to go there. So US does not want outsiders to occupy the employment. So that was the only reason this was brought in. Apart from this, Pakistan raided office of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa in Lahore and puts its leader Hafiz Saeed under prevention house arrest, and this was only possible because of the this election interventions what these countries do take place. If we, this is in generic, but if you go by centric countries, like how the countries have been taking part in other special countries like Afghanistan and others, then again the scenario will be different. For example, US have spent more than $800 billion, right? Where we have moved to elections and then to power, individual powers and diplomacy. So we are talking on country diplomacies and power. So US, how US have influenced Afghanistan. US have spent, as I was telling, more than $800 billion in Afghanistan. More than 2,400 soldiers have lost their lives. The compounding mistakes what US have done is US shifted focus and resources towards Iraq from 2003 onwards. Though they are in Afghanistan, they were against the Taliban, and slowly they have moved towards Iraq, and it has been two-way war, and because of that every time they need more resources in terms of ammunition, more resources in terms of food, and obviously money as well. So Taliban launched their own insurgency in 2005 as a retaliate. 55,000 US troops in 2009 to 1 lakh in 2010 were deployed. So when a country is going to deploy 55,000 to 1 lakh of troops, so obviously the cost incurred to the country will be huge. So apart from this, US maintain approximately 2,000 soldiers in Afghanistan for other counterattack operations even, right? So those are the few power sharing, power diplomacy, because Russia is also present in Afghanistan, where Russia is also telling the world and have been constantly trying to tell that even they are fighting against the Taliban. So like Afghanistan, there is also in Iran as well. Apart from this, there is also embassy war, because recently what US have done is, US on March of this year, I remember March, I think it was the month was March 2018, where US have expelled nearly 60 Russian officials. US have expelled nearly 60 diplomats, 16 Russian officials, stating that they are spies. Okay, instead of being a diplomat, they are more of spies. 48 posted at the Russian embassies, 12 at the Russian mission to the UN in New York. So all the 60 have been expelled. So this expelled, what happened is, after initially it have expelled dozen of Russian intelligence officers. So once this expulsion happened, what happened? Russia also have retaliated back. Russia have retaliated back to the US. with expulsion of US diplomats as well, right? So that is one of the topic one have to understand, right? Obviously, I have already told where is this Helsinki in Finland. Next topic, next important topic over here is China challenges US tariff threat to WTO. Now, why China challenges US tariff? See, there is China, there is US. Now, before moving into this, and there is tariff, there is again WTO. There are four things one can interlink. Means from this one topic, you can learn, you can get information of four things. You can compile information of these four areas. The first one is China. China is a country. What is the capital of China? Capital of China is Beijing. The currency is yuan, and the president is President Xi Jinping, right? So this is important because at times questions are asked what is the currency of China and so on. So here the capital is Beijing. Currency they use is yuan. President is Xi Jinping. Whereas it comes to US, the capital is Washington DC. Currency is of course dollar, and president is Donald Trump. WTO, it's a World Trade Organization which is again located in Washington DC of US, which actually is a common plays a common organization which looks into the trading affairs of all other countries. Like in UN, how many member countries are there? There are nearly 192 member countries, right? So what similarly WTO is a World Trade Organization which looks into so many. Anyway, we'll come into this little later before we talk about the tariff. Now here, what is this tariff? This tariff is basically a tariff which US have imposed recently to countries, telling that the countries who are exporting steel and aluminum to US, they will be put a extra duty of 10 and 25%. That is 25% duty will be put on steel, whereas 10% on aluminum, right? So how it is going to hamper? It is going to hamper in both the countries, different countries. Like US was importing this from Mexico, Canada, Europe, China, and India. So all these countries are going to be impacted. Why? Because these countries who are actually exporting the items, when the import duties will increase to 25 to 10%, what it means? It means the consumption will drastically come down. When the consumption will drastically come down, so it is quite obvious the selling will be less. When the selling will be less, so obviously that is going to hamper any country's revenue generation, and it will bring what? It will bring more losses to the country, as the export won't be done. So because of that, there may be employment cuts, there may be wage cuts, and there may be so many things, right? So what China have done is China and India, basically they have retaliated with imposing tariff in other products which are again important to the countries, like for example India, which is importing few US products, for example like soya bean and so on. So even import charges and duty, countries are thinking to put import in that, right? On to WTO. So let me correct again. WTO is what? WTO is a World Trade Organization which is headquartered in Geneva. Where it is headquartered in Geneva. It is headquartered in Geneva. Clear? here the tariff which US have imposed to different countries, China have gone to WTO telling that being a responsible country, this US cannot blatantly, without a negotiation, without a meeting, cannot come with a direct conclusion that they are going to import a steel. Okay, so those are the important thing over China, over this. So China, we have understood. US is done. Tariff is done. Now we are left with WTO. So WTO is basically the headquarter of WTO is in Geneva. Where is Geneva? Geneva is in Switzerland. Okay. So how many members are there? There are 164 countries which are members to this WTO. The main purpose of creating WTO is for friendly trading and opening trading between all different countries. Okay, so opening the market. Official languages used by WTA are English, French, Spanish, and so on. So important thing over here is WTO is an intergovernmental organization that basically regulates international trade. The purpose of WTO is to regulate international trade, and it was commenced in 1st January 1995. These are important points. If you are making a note, please make a note of this. So the first officially it was commenced in 1995, in 1st January itself. So the first year it got commenced was 1995. Okay, replacing the GATT. Earlier this WTO was called as GATT, that is General Agreements on Tariffs and Trade. General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, which was there until 1994. This was until 1994. This was further reformed and was renamed as WTO, World Trade Organization. What is GATT? General Agreement of Tariffs and Trade between the countries. So as of now, how many countries are there? 164 countries, member nations are there. So this WTO deals with regulation of trade in goods, services, and intellectual property between participating countries, between two countries. What it does, it deals with regulation of trades in goods as well as services and intellectual properties. Okay, and in case if there is any dispute, so WTO come for a resolution process. The aim is obviously to enforce participant and by bringing more countries into ambit and to bring into one common law of nature, so that trading can be open to all the countries. So the moreover this, the general director, the next important point over here is the general director. Okay, so the present general director is Roberto Azevedo. Roberto Azevedo, VEDO. He is the Director General of today's WTO. Okay. And WTO procedure, as I was still, what was earlier WTO was called as, it was GATT, G-A-T-T. So GATT established actually after World War II in the wake of other new multinational institutions which dedicated to international economic operations, such as World Bank, and International Monetary, IMF, International Monetary Fund. So based on this, after World War II, this GATT was basically formed, which was further known as what? World Trade Organizations, right? So there are few important things out of this WTO. The few important points, questions can come up is Doha round. Okay, basically those are the conferences of WTA where some important steps have been taken. Okay, like why Doha round is important, because WTA launched the current negotiations on Doha Roundtable, and that is why it is called as Doha Roundtable Conference. Okay, Doha, where is Doha? Doha is in Qatar. It is the capital of Qatar. Remember last time when we were discussing the next 2022 World Cup, it is going to held in Qatar. I have discussed a bit on Doha, Qatar. where Qatar is located, and the boundaries and the sea lands, right? So Doha round is important in WTO because this was which was actually taken in recent happened a very important point of discussion in recent times. So those are the important things. Moreover, coming to organizational structure, the council, it is a council for trades and good. It has a council of trade related experts of intellectual property rights. It have a council for trades and services. It have a council of trade for negotiations committee. It have a one committee which is basically on negotiation itself, which keeps on negotiating with countries on basically trades and other related activities, obviously in relation with economy and trading only. Okay, so that is all about. What else I can add over here that can be important is like in recent Kazakhstan had a long accession negotiation process. Kazakhstan, which was established in 1996 and was approved membership only in 2015. Kazakhstan was one of the recent which have been added, though the negotiation was started in 1995, but finally in 2015 only Kazakhstan could be added and brought into WTO. So those are the important thing in this particular WTO. Okay, so that is all about this particular topic. The next is international affair is Israel reveals theft. This is a topic. What it means, basically Israel have recently declared and classified that the Mossad agents of Israel have cut through 32 safe Tehran warehouse. Actually, this is the place from where India have inspired to do surgical strikes in Pakistan. The surgical strike which happened last year in India by the commandos of army was basically inspired from this act. You know, this is one of a bravery act from the Mossad agents of Israel, where these agents have cut through 32 safes of Tehran warehouse. They got 50,000 pages and 163 CDs and memos and videos of all related with nuclear arsenal and the nuclear technology that Iran was supposed to build. And it's not easy that stealing a country's nuclear files, which is under 32 safes, like 32 lockers. So the agents have gone, they have cut through 32 safes and got the documents and came back, crossed the border back to their country. So it's not easy. So that is what Israel have recently classified. The main reason was to Israel wanted to bring attention of the world to show Iran's notorious work in nuclear. When we are studying in Israel and Iran, so obviously, as always, we have to also understand the geographical map. When we go with the geographical map, you can see here in the left hand side, this is Israel, and on my right side, this is Tehran. That is the capital of Iran, right? So Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, the capital is Jerusalem of Israel. Here, when we are going across, again we need to understand this. Iran. Here, what is the sea? Can you imagine? It is basically the Persian Gulf. It is Mediterranean Sea. Whenever we are going with nation or international, I have always told you, always keep your atlas or the map of India and world together, so that whenever any country news comes or pops in, you should be able to locate where that country is, okay? Because question may not come directly from that question, but questions may come like what are the neighbors of that country or what are the neighboring sea to that country, right? Like here, the topic is on Israel and Iran. But question may come related to Israel, not necessarily same. It may come that what is the which sea is neighbor to Israel? Mediterranean Sea, Arctic Ocean, Indian Ocean, right? So that is how it can come. Here also there is a sea. This is there is a river bound, and this is called as Dead Sea. What? Dead Sea. Whereas this is Persian Gulf, which is down to Iran. So India is trying to build here Chabahar port, which is basically funded by India, which will open the road link to Central India. Sorry, Central Asia, not India, Central Asia. Chabahar port. Okay. So India is building. So now it is in slow in progress because of US sanctions in Iran. But India is trying to find a route to reach out to Iran, because Iran is a very diplomatically, it is a very important country where India is even investing a lot of money in building this Chabahar port. Apart from this, Iran is the largest country Iran is the country from where we import maximum or the largest amount of oil, fuel, right? Apart from, so those are the important things. So you can interrelate many other things, but since time is a limit for us, so I have put limited things. Now let us come to economics, business and banking. Here I haven't mapped much, but I have kept the important points over here. The first one is PNB records over 7,700 crore. This is rupees 77. This is crore actually. Crore on NPA. NPA is non-performing asset. Non-performing asset actually stands more than a lakh crore. NPA is what? NPA is like there is a bank. This bank have given loan to some company, again a loan to some company, again a loan to some company. But these companies, many companies, this bank have given loan to many such companies where these companies are unable to pay back the loans. When this company are unable to pay back the loans or any loan given on the bank, and the bank does not get back those loans, are called as non-performing asset. So the non-performing assets are basically the public sector banks is quite high. So recently PNB, what happened is it have recently collected 7,700 crores. So it is good news for PNB. It is a good news for PNB because PNB has been in the bad news all this time for this Nirav Modi case, who have been given letter of intent from Punjab National Bank and have nearly corrupted around 13,000 to 15,000 crore rupees, right? So in this way, PNB's record of 7,700 collecting 7,700 crore is a good news, obviously, for the bank. Next one is WPI hold time high. WPI is a wholesale price index. It is now 5.3, which have gone up from 3.7. It means the wholesale price, which was at 3.7 rupees, have increased to 5 plus. Okay, WPI stands for whole price index. Third is Assam. Britannia plant expansion. Britannia is going to come up with an investment of more than 170 crore for Britannia FMCG products, where it is in news because it is going to take nearly 22 acre of land. It is going to build a plant in 22 acre of land. And the best attracting thing over here is that Britannia is planning to recruit 7% of women workforce. So obviously it's a plus point, and it will be game changing in the lives of local bodies who are looking an opportunity for a living. Basically what happened, there are a lot of Northeast people who come out of the places, because Northeastern is a beautiful place which have been located, which have been surrounded by hills, and they have a limited scope for expansion and coming with large factories. So in this way, expansion and intervention of Britannia and getting and opening a business in Assam will bring the employment opportunity for the people of Assam. Apart from this, the other news was government doubles duty on textile. More than 50% of brands have been hiked with a duty. The reason is obviously to increase the manufacturing and to increase the manufacturing of local textile industry and to boost local textile industry, because when we increase the tariff, the cost of the price, the cost of that particular textile goes up. So people will prefer the cheaper one which can be manufactured inside the country, right? So the main purpose is to safeguard the manufacturers of this textiles. Next is government hikes duty on solar. Government have hiked 25% duty on solar. Obviously the reason is again that government is trying to build to come with non-conventional sources of electricity and power. So government, solar is one of a priority of government. So a lot of solar projects are being taken place are happening in the country. So government have increased 25% so that it will encourage the local players to manufacture solar in-house in India, and hence it will give much more employment and will bring more credentials for the country rather than importing. But what other side of the coin is the projects which are ongoing projects where the countries have been taking. They're telling that though manufacturing will take place in India because of this is a good point, but no doubt it will take some time to come to meet the expectations of the solar panels which right now we are getting from China, right? So if we depend on India's manufacturing, we have to wait a long time and the projects may be halted. So that is one point. So but still government keeping that as well in mind, government have increased the duty to 25%. Last but not the least, for this economics and business economics is center is CV load carrying capacity. Basically center have is CV is commercial vehicle. It have increased 20 to 25% of load on the commercial vehicles, starting from 2 axle to 3 axle to 5 axle and even for tractors. Now whatever load were prescribed earlier, now they can take 20 to 25% load. So this indeed will will make the logistic 2% cheaper. So because of this, the government of Road and Transport Ministry, that is Nitin Gadkari, who have been Road and Transport Ministry and the Ministry of Motor Vehicle Act, have basically come up with this particular news, right? So this is all about economics, business and banking, and we are done with this part as well. Now coming to the final part of today's class is sports. Again, I have kept it very precise, not encircling all, but keeping exam point of view. I have taken tennis for today. Recently, Wimbledon was played. Wimbledon 2018. This we are going to talk is Wimbledon 2018. In Wimbledon 2018, where Wimbledon 2018? Wimbledon is in London. Okay, so the Wimbledon is in London, UK. The main river of London is River Thames. So Wimbledon is in London. So Wimbledon 2018, the men's single was won by Novak Djokovic, who is the world 21, by defeating whom? By defeating Kevin Anderson. See, one thing I'll tell you, this is my own experience. I have witnessed lot of examination, lot of competitive examination, where they ask basically the runner-up For example, I remember one exam they have asked in Wimbledon 2015 or 16, that particular sportsmen have defeated whom? I mean, who was the runner-up for men's single title? Okay, and even they are asked from which country they are. Okay, so you have to remember this part is more important. The defeated personalities are more important in terms of competitive exam. Definite the person who got defeated in the final and from which place they are. These questions are more important, keeping competitive exams in mind. So in men's single, Novak Djokovic have won the singles title, defeating Kevin Anderson of South Africa. In women's singles title, it is Angelique Kerber of Germany, and she have defeated whom? Serena Williams of US. Serena Williams being a top player, but it is unfortunate she got defeated by Kerber as Kerber played exceptionally well. Then in men's double was won by Mike Bryan and Jack Sock. They both were from US. They have won the title by defeating Ravin Klashin of South Africa and Michael Venus of New Zealand. Similarly, in women's double, it was won by Rebora Krejcikova and Katerina Sinikova of Czech Republic by defeating a pair of Kevte Pesce and Nicole Mellicher of US. Okay, women's double. Over this, the most important is this: men's and women's singles. Okay, and the personalities are who got defeated. Okay, so you should be kept in mind defeated and which places they are of. And last is obviously mixed double. It was won by mixed double means a mixture of both gender, male and female. So Alexander Pia of Austria and Nicole Mellicher of US have won the mixed doubles by defeating Jamie Murray of UK as well as Victoria Azarenka of Belarus, right? So this was all about today's current affairs, and I hope you'd have liked the class, though I was not very well. So I deeply regret for not performing that very well, but I have tried my best to keep maximum things, to share maximum important parts, and to share maximum things to you so that ultimately you should gain more. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and we'll meet again tomorrow with very interesting editorials. Tomorrow we'll be basically focusing on editorials. Okay, so thank you again watching and keeping me inspiring. See you again. Happy day. Have a good day.
सिस्टम आता है